Product. Sam and Miriam know that they're like our poster child from the beginning days. They're one of the founding, I guess, initial companies from concept to where they are. Barry, you got to let her go.
No double dip.
All right. We still need the two of you up front, so you guys.
So no presentation. We'll look at the computer.
We'll improvise.
You always do. It's on her.
Hello, hello.
So you're gonna get two very
Ooh,
shy
you've given us
people.
18 minutes. But we won't take 18. We'll take 10. Is that okay? 8 minutes for networking?
Oh no, they got afterwards. We're not out of here until they kick us out of here.
Good.
So
Okay,
it's all
good.
right.
Well, I'll be as brief, as entertaining as I can without a presentation, okay? But can I have a mud pint? Okay.
There you go.
So,
Improvise.
this is Mud. We are much more than an ice cream company. I want you to close your eyes, please. I'm looking. Thank you. And try as hard as you can to get back to that moment when your alarm went off, super early, I'm sure, but you were still in bed. You were laying down, you were sleepy, you were just awaking, and just try to get there just for 1 second. All right, open your eyes, turn to your partner, and ask them if they had any dreams last night.
Well, that's a, by the way, that's a yes or a no. That's not a description, okay? Well, let's keep it simple.
Connections. Does it feel good? Yeah. Oh, yes, one person. Thank you. All right, if you're sitting in your chair, please just rumble your feet. Make some noise. If you're standing, clap your hands. Come on. Yeah. Good. You rub your hands fully together. Rub, 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 rub. And just feel it on your face.
We will get to the product, right?
Maybe not. So it's good to feel good, right? And that's what Mud is all about. Feeding your good with a super delicious and creamy ice cream that is also dairy-free, and we don't add any sugar. So what did you think of the taste? I can't ask all of you, but did you enjoy it?
Yes.
The consistency was a little more like a milkshake today because we thought we were going first, we were going last, but hey, that's life. It gets muddy, right? So, what are we using to sweeten Mud? Anybody know? Dates. Let's go on a date. Can we date?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, dates are delicious. They're nature's candy. I'm not kidding. When I was pregnant, I ate dates 8 dates a day. Why? Because it helped my labor, supposedly. I still had a really long labor. But dates have minerals, they have nutrients. They're super good for us. And magnesium is the best nutrient that dates give you. And guess what? 90% of Americans are magnesium deficient. That's interesting, right? So, Mud is an ice cream. Yes, it tastes good, it's rich, it's creamy. It satisfies all your ice cream desires, but it's also doing something. So when you've had a long day, right, you're on the couch, you put on Netflix, and you're just exhausted. And then you're craving something sweet because after you eat dinner, which is probably salty, right, you want something sweet to counteract that. So you reach for your pantry and you grab, ladies, chocolate, yes. Fellas, cookies.
Anything.
Anything? Ice cream on cookies, brownies, whatever. Just make it work. I need that fix. But what happens after the fix? Crash. You're crashing and then you're crashing a little more. What else?
Guilt.
Ooh. Now you're getting deep.
Yeah.
Guilt. What else? Ladies?
I eat a lot of cookies.
Ladies, our bodies, right? We want to look good because it feels good to look good. Mud is so much more than ice cream. I eat mud every day, confession, and I love it because I never regret it afterwards. And I hope that something I just said inspired you in some little way and made some positive impact on your day, or made you smile, or made you remember something good, because mud is all about feeling good. Thank you so much.
So you bring Sam on now?
I guess.
Come on, Sam.
Okay, so I made mud for this fella because I love
We need
him.
a
He's
little-
so sweet. He's so cute. And he's
Little
really
bit
tall.
of 4 years now, 5 years?
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
at this for 5 years.
It's a concept when you started?
We started right here at the Food Council with little Chinese food containers of the product.
Yeah.
And
So where have you been now? Where are you today? I mean, this is
Yeah,
important
that's a great
update.
question. Okay. So we were in diapers when we met Mike as a business.
Their daughter is born on my birthday, so it's okay.
Yes, we have a soul connection.
Yes.
And we really didn't have a background in food. My background was in mindfulness, and Sam's was in technology. So he's like the business brain. He loves this stuff. He's wired for entrepreneurship. And I got that bug too, and I said, wow, I like that I can be my own boss. I can do something that's gonna help people. Because I love people, and I love you all. So I made mud for him as an act of love, and then it spread because people were like, where can I buy this? And we very much hit the pavement, and we started giving it out to people. We started selling it. We started knocking on stores. And in the last 5 years, we ended up growing really, really fast because we're like, people love mud, so let's just do it. And we ended up getting into 25 states and about 500 stores.
sounds good, but really we grew a little too fast. And that's what happens. You get excited, you see the demand is there, and you keep growing and growing. But ultimately, the two of us couldn't support building a brand in 25 states. And so we had to scale it back a little. We scaled it back to the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic recently, focusing on just penetrating in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania.
Penetrating? Wow.
So, yeah.
Come on, we have to laugh at that, right? Phallic jokes?
Going deep, all right.
Go deep before you go wide. There's a huge lesson there, and we lived it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Some of
when
us
you're
have
building
sensitivity
the lesson is when you're building a food company, go slow, pay attention to your first customers, get a lot of feedback, do a lot of demos, build some good brand awareness in your local communities before you try to spread across the whole country. Today we're doing great. We transitioned from self-manufacturing and a little commercial kitchen to now having a strategic manufacturing partner that develops all of the product for us. So basically our job is marketing and sales. Miriam covers the consumer marketing. I cover the B2B marketing, selling into the stores. It's going great. Having a partner that manufactures for us makes life, actually this whole business enjoyable. Whereas before we were wearing too many hats. We were in the kitchen until 2 in the morning making the product, and then we had to hit the streets and sell the product. It was just too much. So know when to delegate, what you want to delegate. What are you really good at? What are you passionate about? What do you want to do in your business? And what can you outsource or delegate to someone who is passionate about that other area that you're not as strong in?
I just want to add that finding the right fit takes time. So we knew our production partners 2 years before we made a deal with them. We were too small. They wanted too much of our company for it, and we said no. So what I found is that you know everything you need to know about your life, your business, your relationships right here. And I just had this amazing conversation with Stacy in the hallway about your intuition and how she's made every single choice in her business from that place. It's not going to be out here with the millions of things that are telling you constantly what to do. It's so confusing. And I felt like that when I started a paleo diet. I was so confused about what to do with my health. So there's a lot in there, but the point is that we made this business into a vessel of spreading light and spreading nutrition and spreading something delicious, but also being true to ourselves. We just had a baby 7 months ago, and thank you. And she's taught us a lot about time management, what's really important, and playing is play in the mud.
But also, before you get there is, but you guys are open to ideas. So I mean, you had a name before this one.
Yes, we changed our name 3 times.
To get to where it needed to be.
Yes.
You've changed your formulation. You've been
Yes.
open-minded to what had to be done. You've gone through Goldman Sachs training,
Yep.
and then you went through another accelerator program to learn. So it's a constant learning
Yes.
process. So it wasn't like I know everything or this is what I'm going to do.
Of course, it's been
You
5
guys
years.
are open-minded to build this, and then also to step back. Everyone's like, great, you're in 25 states, but there is consequences to such expansion. You have to be realistic. So we're more realistic. So it's not only about sell more, make more. A lot of times it's sell more, you can lose more. So you got to understand what your business model is and where
Right.
you're going, and that's one of the reasons they're up there, because their journey from the concept from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever it was, to where it is. It wasn't just a singular line. They're open to change. They had to change. They moved, and they did what was necessary. So it's the love of mud.
Were you fortunate enough to find a packer for you who was local? And how much time do you need to put towards that packer on a monthly basis?
So they're based in New Jersey. We go there a couple times a month because our relationship expands beyond manufacturing. We also collaborate on sales and marketing, and also in our online strategy. We're actually going to be doing a podcast from their office soon. So it's a great partner. We're really happy with them so far.
Sam, what were the symptoms that you had when you expanded too quickly?
Well, all these new retailers have slotting fees. You have to give them new products. Sometimes you have to give them cash on top of the new product. Then you have to run quarterly ads, and you have to do their coupon book. All those costs add up. So when you're in 500 stores and all of them want you to do ads and invest in free product, it's just too much to handle. You know, unless you have $1 million sitting in the bank, you have to grow like strategically, you know, like capture all the low-hanging fruit first that doesn't charge you cash to go onto the shelf. And
You have a few minutes.
anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we didn't have our finger on the pulse. We were like just trusting that everything was okay, and it wasn't. You know, we were in stores that we never stepped foot inside. That was so important. We did a demo at Big Y and in Massachusetts, and we said, I don't think our target consumer really shops here yet, because we were still small. Our messaging is still kind of niche. So this is like a newer version of our packaging, but on the next round of reorder, we're gonna change it to say no added sugar. Because people are like, sweetened with dates, they didn't really understand, at least in that market. So it's constant evolution and constant looking at yourself from a distance and saying, is this really saying who we are? And who we are is going to change, and we're going to find out who we are better. It's kind of like a wheel that's moving very slowly, but it's moving.
So when we put the product into some of these markets that were not where our target consumer shopped, it didn't move fast enough. Then it was
And you're paying the fees.
It was in the retail store through UNFI, which is like one of the bigger distributors. I think everyone knows UNFI here. So we had 8 UNFI warehouses open, and we didn't learn this until after the fact, but you are responsible for the inventory in their warehouse until it sells through the supermarket. So all the product that was sitting in all these warehouses, going to stores that we shouldn't have been in, basically we had to pay for that, plus 15% on their landed cost. So don't try to grow too fast. When you get an order from distributor, if it's a distributor like KeHE or UNFI, you own that inventory until they sell it. So just remember that.
So until they sell it to the store.
To the store.
And then it's all.
And it has to sell through the store. The first
That's what I'm
case
asking.
has to sell through the store.
And you want reorders, right?
When AR kind of turns, is that sort of when, that's when you can see that, right?
Right, so exactly, UNFI and KeHE won't pay you on the first order until their first order turns all the way through the warehouse and all the way through the store. So sometimes you're talking about 90 days without payment.
So what do the next 2 years look like for you? What are the 2-year vision?
So we're focusing on smaller regional distributors in this region, really hitting the streets again, something we did in the beginning that's a lot of fun, and but we're doing it from in a much stronger position now because we're not doing it driving around in our van with freezers in the back with a couple cases. We're just going and selling, but then there's distributors that come and take care of the fulfillment of the product to the store, which is a big challenge in the frozen industry and with the frozen supply chain. So yeah, we're focusing on Northeast, Mid-Atlantic regions, smaller distributors that are easy to work with and will communicate with you so you can sell together. And Miriam is working on the consumer marketing side.
So social marketing, being really genuine in what you care about and sharing that with your customers, and sharing with people who feel inspired by what you're doing. So another part of our strategy is having more flavors. So we're really launching like a chunky line, cookie dough, chocolate fudge brownie, things that have grit and crunch to them, so that it really does feel very indulgent, and that you finish it and you feel satisfied. You feel, like yes. Yes.
So in the other competitors like ISO and the other ones that are like Whole Foods has a huge section of this. Is anybody else using dates? Anybody else sugar-free?
We're the first.
Is that your?
Well, there are other no sugar added ice creams that are dairy free, but they use a sugar alcohol. What does a sugar alcohol do to your body?
Is it organic?
So it's
it's
highly,
not
highly processed, and most of the sources are synthetic, like stevia, monk fruit. You're getting to more natural, but erythritol, for instance, has been linked to so many digestive issues.
Right.
And a lot of people already have, discomfort, and it's like, for me, I get headaches. Everybody reacts so different, but I feel it, and guess what? There's like an aftertaste, and you can't hide that. You can't hide the aftertaste of erythritol. So,
And who's your biggest retailer?
It's between Wegmans and Whole Foods. Whole Foods, we're relaunching this new product in the 3 Long Island Whole Foods next week.
what are the
Everybody go to Whole
locations?
Foods. Jericho, Manhasset, and Comac so far.
Cool. I don't want to take it too far down the technology road, but you mentioned technology. With what you're doing, you guys looking at all into the whole blockchain, sustainability, transparency yet?
We're not big enough
To be there yet, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother, he's into blockchain, so the two of you can go on a whole
Yeah, no,
conversation.
that's why I said.
No, he
talk
has a
about
whole
it
blockchain
afterwards.
side of him.
Okay, all right.
See, that was a good answer. Like, normally someone would be like, yes, let's
Right,
do
exactly,
it. And
so
then
we had to cut him off, not
we
you.
have
Eric.
to be a little bigger to really, like right now we're really focusing this relaunch
Paul,
and telling the
Cynthia?
story
And
better.
then Paul.
Oh, it's just the praise. I spent some time in Pennsylvania over the holidays, and it was so great to see you guys in the middle of Pennsylvania in Wegmans.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah, Paul?
Take us through on the business side. If something sells for $1, how much goes to the supermarket? How much goes to the distributor? How much? What's your cost? And did you have to give up equity to your co-processor in order to get them on
All right.
board?
You may have to, run down that list again, but I'll start where I remember at the beginning, the different margins from your distributor and your retailer partners. So the distributor usually wants between 20 and 35%, depending on where they're distributing to, how far they need to carry it, who the retailer is, if the retailer has multiple locations or if it's a single independent location. And a lot of the times, like for example, Whole Foods works on a 7% margin with UNFI, so it's almost nothing. But then Whole Foods charges 45% in the freezer case on top of whatever they pay, which is one of the most expensive freezer cases in the industry. The freezer case costs you about 37 to 45% on top of what they buy it from the distributor at. And then once you're sold from the distributor into the retailer, there's cost to the distributor to open the warehouse, to get set up in the system. There's cost with the retailer to give them free product, to do an ad one of the quarters, to do quarterly promotions. All of those promotions bill back to you and get deducted off of your distributor invoice. So if you have a $10,000 distributor invoice, you may only get $5,000 back. And you have to be able to, if you're lucky, and you have to be able to weather that for many months, maybe even years in the startup if you're gonna build a real national brand in supermarkets.
Right, that's the key. They're national. UNFI is if you're trying to go national and you have the resources to support that. We didn't, and we jumped ahead and we retracted. So we still have a good relationship with UNFI, but we were very honest and we said we grew too far too fast. Now we have the support of these advisors. We graduated from a CPG accelerator program that really helped guide us in this. So, yeah, know where you are.
Paul, did I answer?
Kind of.
Okay,
And
what else?
The
If
second
something
part
sells-
was the
If something sells
FGT.
for $1,
Uh-huh.
we understand that everybody's taking their vig along the way,
Mhm.
especially when you gotta pay the premium for being in the freezer case. Hopefully you're enjoying some margin, but what is your cost of
I see.
of
So
manufacturing and
as a frozen dessert CPG company, we aim for a 37 to 42% gross margins on top of whatever we buy our product at the cost of goods. We happen to be in a great position when it comes to our manufacturing strategy because it's a turnkey manufacturing relationship where they finance all the raw materials and all the packaging. So we basically have to buy finished cases as they leave our manufacturer's dock, which gives us a better cash flow position. But yeah, again,
That's
it's
good.
Their
Yeah.
equity, was your other question.
Yeah.
Does your co-pack wrap equity?
they do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was the best thing we ever did.
Last question, and then you guys can ask them, they're not going anywhere.
You just wanted to clarify.
That wasn't your question, that was Dan's, but.
I think there's a couple entrepreneurs that really could benefit from a little bit of that accelerator program, the Goldman Sachs one. I know there's a couple firms that, but if you could just talk about if there was a cost to that, how you got, if there was an application process.
We are taking that concept further in discussions with them, because there is definitely a need here on Long Island.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that here in Long Island, so it's one of the initiatives for 2020 as we put it together. It's just after time, so you want to do a quick
Okay.
summary?
High
and
level,
then-
maybe.
So really quick,
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs was an amazing business-focused educational program. We're in a room with 35 entrepreneurs and everyone takes their mask off and shares all their challenges and weaknesses and strengths, figures out how to make each other better. Very, very highly recommended, free to apply, free to do it, funded by Goldman Sachs Foundation program. And then the second one was a CPG focused accelerator for the food industry that we did. And from that one, we really learned the ins and outs of like marketing and selling and all the costs and the infrastructure involved in building a food company in the CPG space. And we're gonna be working with Michael on trying to pass that knowledge on through the Food Council.
They were the first graduating class of this program in New York City.
Absolutely.
So it was a great
And
opportunity.
the product's even better than it was before.
Thank you.
No question.
All right, well, thank you guys very much. Just a couple of quick announcements. I did forget, National Grid just came out with their rebate program for commercial kitchen equipment. So if anybody's getting commercial equipment, they just came out. I just got this flyer from Lyle. Again, there is the ESD trade program, the Suffolk County taking the farmland. The stuff is up here. Again, membership and sponsorships. Is there any other announcements?